Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1138 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, coming at you from Austin, Texas. FRL, of course, presented to you by Nike Wrestling. To my left, James Dean Rader. Not normally my left. Today, when we go two on the floor, I sit here. So say
I like it.
He doesn't like it. It was Amanda, our producer's decision, and now they got serious beef. And we'll have to settle that with HR after the show. To the left, John Kozak. He's here. He stayed home. He was the one man on the ground here in Austin, Texas during Final X. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gracious. What an amazing Final X it was. Ended with a boom. If I haven't mentioned, if you haven't seen it online, PJ Duke is going to be joining us in 1 hour at 11 o'clock Central, 12 Eastern. PJ, who is literally today in high school. It's not like, oh, he's a high schooler. No, he has school today. East Coast goes crazy with it. They go to school forever. But this is apparently his last day of school, and he's still going to be able to join us. That is obviously very exciting. Cannot wait to have him on. JD Rader, what's the first question top of your mind to get this show started?
I mean, how surprised are you that PJ was actually able to pull this off? He really stole the show at the end there. How surprised were you?
I was totally, I mean, okay, so as far as like Final X surprises goes, it's up there. Maybe it's the biggest one ever. But coming into it, it's like, maybe PJ can wrestle with him. This could be interesting. This could be exciting. What makes it so shocking is that PJ lost 10-0 in match number 1. And then match number 2, it was 9-2. At that point, it is so over. It's beyond over. It's why I don't think we've ever seen a best of 3 like this that I can ever recall at Final X or even a trial setting where someone gets dominated, is being dominated, a switch flips, momentum snatched by PJ, things start to fall apart, and then by match 3, he's still losing. He finds a way, gets to the single leg, gets the finish. I was totally shocked because the main thing out of round number 1 was not just Yianni dominated. It was, I don't know if I've ever seen Yianni look so good. And even going into match 2, I felt like this is the best I've ever seen Yianni wrestle. And so it's nobody, forget it if it's an 18-year-old, forget if it's a guy in high school, whatever. No one's running that down. You just don't see that. And that's what makes this the shock of shocks at Final X. It's not that PJ was vastly outclassed, we thought going into it. We were excited about the match. You know, Yianni was certainly the favorite. I'm not painting any picture differently than that. But it was not like when Zayn beat Gilman, that stunned me at Final X. I just did not see that coming. That was not on my radar in any way, shape, or form. But this was a little more so, but the way it transpired shocked me beyond words.
After match 1, like you said, there was no path to victory for PJ. He shot, Yianni scored. Yianni shot, Yianni scored. Like 100% for Yianni. And it was a combination of, I think, Yianni getting tired, Yianni getting flustered, PJ having big old cojones and being able to mentally go, I don't care that I got dominated in match 1. I don't care that I'm getting dominated now. And flipping the switch with the momentum. And it kind of was that 4-pointer he hit in match 2 that really flipped the switch.
This is
he
the
hit
one,
2,
right?
The first one.
But the first one, yeah, right here. I think maybe we're going to show it. I don't know. We've got it ready to pull in here if clips are going to work.
You know what else I feel like nobody is talking about is the call where they originally went 1 point for Yianni and then reversed it and flipped it 2 for PJ.
Yes.
And if that stays 1 point for Yianni, Yianni wins match 2.
Yeah.
By tech fall, and then obviously the series. 2 tech falls.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was, and I think ultimately they got it right, allowing that continuation. But I think you rightly point out this was the turning point in the match. Yianni on the attack, in deep on a shot. His finishes looked so good, and this time his butt, his hips were not underneath him, and this is where you see the power of PJ Duke on full display. And at this point, this is where it changed, and Yianni did not adjust. And now, this was another thing that's going to be discussed, debated at length. After this, and let it keep playing here. Don't pull it out. Because they originally went, for some reason, it was offered 4 blue here for Yianni. And then they ultimately went 4 red. Now you're going to see here Yianni. He wants the brick. He does not want to get up. And this is not a brick because the points are wrong. Now looking, we're reading body language here. I don't think he thinks that call was wrong. I think he needed a second. And on the mat, Mike Gray and company made the right call to not throw the brick from a point scoring perspective. But what I think you don't realize at the time is just how much Yianni needed to not have to stand up again and have to have PJ Duke wrestle him again. And this is where, and so you see within probably 15, 20 seconds, Yianni takes another shot in a position he normally recovers from. He gets forward and then gives up a 2 after that. So giving up that 4, I don't know. Physically, I don't know if Yianni was just struggling to hold up. But that, to me, was the moment. And now looking back, probably that brick needed to come, if only to preserve Yanni's psyche or whatever it was, whatever he needed in that moment.
Catch your breath, recollect your thoughts yourself, because he clearly was tired. Right after that, he takes a bad shot and gives up an easy go behind and then gives up that 4, which maybe could have been 5.
Yeah, and I think maybe it ultimately was 5.
Was it?
It may have been. You're right. But yeah, it definitely just, you don't normally see things fall off that quickly, right? Like the way we did. Kozak, I'm curious. I know you're trying to jump in there. What were you thinking?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going to say, so I wrote the preview for this matchup. So I was watching a lot of tape and trying to figure out how is this matchup going to go down. And I thought that because they had such a clash of styles, my opinion was if someone's going to blow out, if someone's going to win by a blowout, it's going to be Yianni. It's just the way that the styles worked out. It'll just be, that's how it'll go. And so the way that PJ came back and then obviously how he finished match 3, it was so surprising. Nowhere did I expect any of this. I thought if PJ was going to win, it was going to be a close match. It was going to be a 5-4, 4-3 type match that Yianni wasn't going to be able to get his offense going at all. But it wasn't that case, I felt like, yeah, it was just so surprising the way that it transpired.
Freestyle's different in that, I guess numerically, I mean, one ended with a fall and then it those were close matches though. In my mind, that second match was really close. It's just, it fell off all the way bad for Yianni at the end. And I thought Yianni coming out for match 3 had very smart tactics. He's like, all right, I lost basically because I shot myself out of a match. Now, the shots were working, and then it hit a point where they weren't working the same. So we're all remembering the pin, but we got to the break there, right? I mean, he was up 2-0, wrestling well. PJ didn't have a ton of opportunities to score, and it felt like, all right, Yianni he made all the right moves. I feel like he made the right adjustments. And then when PJ, ultimately the final sequence, that single leg from PJ off the shot from Yianni. And then that was just such a special finish there to get the pin in that moment. Or truly one of a kind moment. And technically, where do you think was PJ looking for the fall here, or was this a little bit of a slight error in the defense? Yianni, it felt like Yianni didn't believe he could even give up a takedown there. He did not want to. And did that end up contributing?
Well, he definitely got tired because they're in that front headlock position, and Yianni swings his right foot up way too high and then leaves it there for 2 seconds. And that allowed PJ to get to that single leg. And I don't think if Yianni's 100%, like gas tank wise, he just leaves that right foot there. I think he squares up, gets his legs back a bit more. And then, yeah, I think it was PJ just having momentum and just going for it. Yianni being a little bit tired, only having 80% stamina to fight off that was really kind of a nice little like sweep cutback.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then, everyone's talking like, when was the last time Yianni was pinned? I have no idea. I mean, I've certainly never seen it before. And really just a very, very special and surprising moment, but definitely the moment of Final X without a doubt. One I'll never forget.
Yeah, it really makes you curious. Immediately, I think, okay, how does PJ do on the senior level against the top guys in the world? Because you see how dangerous he is in the matches that he won, but then there's also, in my mind, the lingering match 1 against Yianni. And it's like, okay, was that just Final X jitters? Was that, what was that? And how does PJ's style translate at Worlds against the best guys?
Here's what has me excited about that. And certainly it's a good question. How is this guy going to do at 18 years old at the Senior World Championships? But when you think about what we're seeing from these guys, the trajectory they have, he's going to be a different guy by September, right? You feel certain of that. You've got he's been still training in high school room, high school scenario. He's going to get now the benefit of the number one's focus from Team USA, right? He is going to get in that Penn State room in a more consistent basis. He is just we're going to see him jump big levels. He's going to be a different guy come September. And he will need to be to contend, right? And I think that's just what we're going to see from PJ coming into it. But yeah, it's it's uncharted waters for Team USA. We haven't had a kid like this on the world stage that I can remember, right, in a really, really long time. And now the crazy thing is we could have 2.
Yeah, people don't forget Jax Forrest could still make this team. PJ Duke might not be the best high school wrestler in the country.
He might not be. He might be. It's certainly a hotly debated topic. We already did debate it once. When the dust settles, I feel like you gotta let let Fargo play out, and then let's talk about it a little more. I think right now the moment's just about PJ and what he did.
Yeah, but I said this like this is gonna weigh on my pick of how I view the Jax Vito matchup, and it shouldn't, but I felt probably that Jax had a better shot at winning Final X than PJ, and now I'm like, who the heck knows what's gonna happen in Fargo?
Yeah, I've been on Jax since the Open. We'll see what happens, but yeah, you're right that going into Final X, certainly Jax was viewed as having a better probability of making the team than PJ. And now, yeah, all bets are off just with this generation. These guys, these wrestlers, they're just different. And do they respect the old guard for certain? But there's no reverence at all.
Mm-hmm.
They do not hold these guys in any special regard. They just believe. And I think that's common. That's true with PJ Duke, with Marcus Blaze, and with Jax Forrest. Those guys, I mean, Marcus Blaze, he's kind of, it feels like every month one of these guys is kind of the story. And Marcus making the national team is a huge, huge accomplishment for him. And I think he's going to be contending for that world team spot next year. I think he's going to be the guy to beat whatever weight he goes, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, and my initial thought when I think about how PJ can perform at Worlds now, it's like, yeah, is he ready to beat the guys like Dave Bave or whoever Russia is sending? We should know that at the end of the month. Big Earn, Aogi from Japan,
Yeah.
Gudiev, Tajikistan, Kanaev, Azerbaijan. But on the other hand, because right away I'm like, I'm not sure if he's ready to go with those guys yet. But then I'm like, dude, he just beat Yianni. And stop doubting him,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I feel like with PJ, he has such a very unique style for Americans, right? He's not your typical American folk style freestyle wrestler, but the places that he is good at, he is like unstoppable. Where if he can figure out how to wrestle from those positions, like yeah, for sure he can. Like he just showed how dangerous he is and how much he can put up points in such a short amount of time. How quickly he can put people in danger. Where like that's the thing where like all right, like yeah, he can win a medal just because of how good he is in his strength positions. To where that's what gives me hope. And he's just gonna get better. I'd love to see him wrestle at the next ranking series tournament in July. But then it's like, is he gonna wrestle at U20s also? I don't know. So a lot to follow along with.
Don't forget,
PJ.
he made the U20 team and could take the U23 spot if he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Amita Lord status. Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All 3 world teams.
What's next for Yianni? What are the takeaways for Yianni?
Well, I think it's going to be hard to feel good about it right now if you're Yianni, but man, I think he should. I think if you zoom out a little bit and you think about 2024, not just the Olympic trials. Remember that before then, gets knocked out in a wrestle off, hospital, goes to the Olympic trials, does not wrestle well, does not look good, does not look himself. Then he has to have surgery. You're like, is he ever going to get back to this level, right? You know how great he is, but you never know when it's going to end. It's not always, not everyone's guaranteed to make to the mid-30s like so many of these legends. Like, this could be it. And then he goes up to 70, great performance at the U.S. Open. And then it felt like he was better than ever. And I sincerely believe this, that I've never seen Yianni wrestle better than what I saw him do at the opening round, first round, and then the opening parts of match 2 against PJ Duke. I thought this is the best because we've always known the slickness in the counter, but he was going and getting it, generating his own offense, and he looked slick. He looked a little faster and more powerful than ever. And I felt like Yianni is not just back, but he's back and better than ever. And I think the wheels falling off in match 2 and then going down match 3 doesn't erase the fact that that happened. He beat PJ. He beat him badly. He is still that guy. And also for Yianni, PJ, how long is he going to be at this weight? I think it's very realistic. This is the last year we see PJ Duke at 70. So he goes up to 74. Well, then you're back in the pole position if you're Yianni. So with all that in mind, stay the course, keep getting better, stay healthy. I thought he looked adequately sized. I think he's the right size. I think he's powerful enough. I think that 2 out of 3, that's a different sort of strain on the body than I think maybe he was ready for. I don't know. Something about PJ. And that's the thing. What's interesting about this, and PJ took it. There's no other narrative out there. But tactics matter. Skill-wise, maybe Yianni was better. Tactically, I think it was PJ that separated himself. Because what happens if Yianni does what we saw Spencer do, which is get his lead and then say, come and take it. And you got to come and you got to score now. I'm up 6. I'm up 7. You got to come take it from me. If Yianni does that, does it look differently? It very well may. Because Yianni was going for the tech. He's in deep on the double. He's trying to get that same lifted double leg he got in match 1. And PJ adjusted. And then it all went downhill from there. So I think those are the things you think about. Yeah, maybe do you want to pack it in? Is that the great wrestler thing to do in the psyche? Yes, maybe no. But there's no team race here. There's no bonus points. You're either on the team or you're not on the team. And in hindsight, is it more pragmatic and wise to do what Spencer did, which is get up 4, 5, 6 points and say, all right, I did my thing. Now you have to come and take it from me.
Kozak, will you pull in that out of bounds continuation call in match number 2? I just want to take another look at it while Kozak's doing that. Do you think too much was made of the Yianni, I'm going to go out there and maul him comment before the series?
I do. Now, on the one hand, Yianni he made that comment to us before. He's like, hey, I'm going to go out. I'm going to try to, I don't know if he said try to maul him. I'm going to maul him. The only difference between Yianni and PJ in that moment is that Yianni said it. You think PJ's not thinking, hey, I'm going to come out. I'm going to maul him. I'm going to take him out. I'm going to beat Yianni. The only difference is Yianni was candid and said it. And was that fuel for a young guy, PJ Duke? Very, very possibly. He said it was. He said, I heard that. And like, you never want to give a little wind in the guy's sail. And how much can that really help you? Who knows? It's sort of an unmeasurable thing. But I don't think there's any issue with Yianni saying that. But these guys, they'll look for any little thing to find an edge. For some, Michael Jordan always talked. He would literally make things up to get offended about, to take a guy out. I see that in wrestling all the time. People be like, yeah, maybe I'll stop hating on me. I hear this all the time. It's like, no one here hates you, dude. We actually pump you up all the time. Not even talking about PJ specifically, but that's just a thing that happens in wrestling. And it's a total fabrication in their own minds, and they create this world. But I think there is something to it that it can help you. So, I don't think Yianni needs to reevaluate his candor, but that did happen as we take a look and pull this in. And so the question here is, you're allowed continuation on the edge after you step out if you are being offensive. And so that was what the jury had to determine. Is PJ actually looking to score here? Or is he being defensive? And they determined, and I think probably rightly so, it's certainly debatable, that PJ was looking to score on the edge here.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like you consider some of the other matches PJ's had
This is the best angle here.
Against Melvin Miller, against Bryce Andonian. He is so savvy on the edge of the mat where he'll send it knowing that he has like the out of bounds as whatever, the safety protection area, to where he knows, all right, if I initiate here and I score, then I'm going to get something. If I don't, then I'm only probably giving up a 1 point step out. So yeah. he's really freestyle savvy for being, 18 years old.
Yeah, no question about it.
And there's literally only a tenth of a second difference between when Yanni's knee hit and PJ's foot hits, and then it's different, where PJ went out first.
Well, I thought PJ did go out first. They did. I think they determined that PJ did go out first, but because he was being offensive, they gave him the continuation. And I think you would see that that PJ's foot did step out first. So it is interesting, but I think they ultimately got it right in a Final X where not a lot to be debated call wise.
Yeah,
right. I feel like well officiated event and not a lot of the Bar Hidley match was the only one match too. I got a little squirrely there, but other than that, I thought it was the event went really well from a officiating standpoint.
Let's move on to what was our actual main event of the evening: 86 kilograms Zahid versus Dake Al-Zahid.
Yeah, and that is the sentiment I left with, and then I rewatched match one. I was like, dang man, Kyle Dake almost got a takedown.
That's true. That's true.
And I think match two sort of reshaped it, and really, because I had this whole idea in my mind of what I was going to say. I was like, man, Zahid really just didn't give Dake any hope at all. That's just what I left with, and that's what I was going to. And then I rewatched match one, and I was like, oh, man, he was right there to get it. But I think the quick strikes early from Zahid were just so impactful. Those were just huge for him. And getting that early go behind and getting turns against Dake, which he was able to get not only at the U.S. Open, but also Final X, huge difference maker. And Kyle's not far off, but now Zahid is in the driver's seat for the quad, potentially. And we've seen this. Once you get in that spot and you bring home that medal, it creates this cycle that's really, really tough to unseat. We've seen Kyle in this position. We've seen Jordan in this position. Kyle Snyder still in this position. This is the first time Kyle's had to go through that process in 10 years. So I think Zahid did an awesome job. I think he's getting better and better. I honestly feel like he's leaving points on the board. It feels like when he attacked, he scored. I think he was being very cautious and respectful of Kyle, knowing the danger and knowing that, Kyle's, I mean, it was never illustrated more clearly than when Zahid had Kyle doubled off and Kyle sat on his butt and head between the legs. It feels like Zahid could have pushed for points there and said, I'm up 4-0. I'm in, but I don't know. He could flip me over. I'm just going to kind of circle around, but not really try to score here. And I think that shows the respect that Zahid still showed, and maybe more than he needs to. Could Zahid open it up a little bit more? I don't know, but for Zahid getting over the hump here in Final X against a legend is got to be just more confidence and affirming for the choice that he made to go to Stillwater.
And I thought he played it great, and all the talk before, even during, was Zahid's gas tank.
Mm-hmm.
Can he withstand it? Did just as well, if not better, in match 2. Wider margin of victory.
Yes.
In match 2. And he did not look gassed. I mean, maybe a little. He gave up like that takedown when I think if that's at the beginning of the match, he fights hard to
I think he fights hard because you don't want to give up a point early in the match, but I think late in the match it's not about the tiredness, it's about I'm smarter to give up one than tired. That was my read of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And hey, this is gonna burn time. Yeah. I have cushion to give up. I know I can give this up and still win. It's gonna burn some time, absolutely.
Yeah, and Zahid just beat Kyle Dake 3 straight times. US Open, 2 at Final X. So you feel really good about him moving to Worlds. I was looking at the seeding this morning. It looks like Zahid's going to be the 4 seed. Ramazanov the 1.
Oh my
That's
God.
tough.
So semifinal. But the world is actually like really good at 86 now, whereas in years past you feel like, it's David Taylor, Yazdani, and then everybody else. So you got Ramazanov, a defending Olympic champion. Kadi is up, who
Looks great.
was really close to beating Ramazanov. And then you got whoever Russia sends, either Nafanov or Kadziev. And then Gasimpur is down from 92 to 86. And so, like, Russia's rep and Gasimpur and Kadi are all going to be randomly drawn in. It's a really dangerous bracket at 86, especially if they get drawn on the top side.
I think it's a super even group.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of differentiation. When I hear Ramazanov, Zahid Valencia, I think close to a coin flip match. I mean, Brooks had that guy all but beat. Zahid had Brooks all but beat.
Mm-hmm.
Different styles for sure, and Ramazanov can wear on you. But, man, I think, and they've wrestled in the past, and it was close. I think Kadi's super dangerous, can win a title. We can beat him. And then Gasimpur, scary because he's so positional. But I think we've got a guy that can break down positional wrestlers and win. So all winnable, all tough. Zahid, I would not say is the gold medal favorite, but he is unquestionably capable of winning a world title and bringing home a medal for USA. But it's going to be tough. And what I hope for is even distribution of those guys. And we don't get any clusters where, you've got a Kadi and a Zahid with a Gasimpur all bunched up.
Even the tier 2 guys at 86 kilograms are scary. And Zahid then is absolutely the favorite, but your Japan's guy, even at 86, are not known for the upper weights, but Ishigiro's.
He beat Zahid.
Yes.
Yeah, last year.
Right.
So,
And then Brooks destroyed him at Olympics, right?
mm-hmm.
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 I feel better about that now.
I do too, but
yeah, he beat him. He beat
right,
him. Yeah.
exactly.
Unquestionably.
Dezoev is pretty good from Azerbaijan, and Shapiev from Uzbekistan's not bad either. So, yeah, Zahid is like, I feel really good about medaling. Definitely a decent shot at even gold, but every match is going to be a scrap.
Yeah.
Probably. But what's next for Kyle? Do you consider now going back down to 79?
I don't know. I mean, I think from a pragmatic standpoint, it makes sense if you just want to make a team and win another world title. But everything about what Kyle is doing seems catered towards winning the Olympic championship. And if that is the case, then a change in weight going down to 79, I don't think makes that much sense. But, my hope, man, I want to see Kyle Snyder on the world stage. I want to see him, trying for another medal to win another
Kyle
gold.
Dake.
Yeah, Kyle Dake, of course. And I want to see, I mean, our team is better if he's at 79, period. And does that factor in for Kyle? I don't know. But if it's all on what he prioritizes. There's no doubt in my mind. If he goes down to 79, he's going to make our team. And I think he'd be a favorite to win a world title. Does that move Kyle's internal motivation needle enough to say, okay, you know what? Let me go down here. I'd rather be on the team at a non-Olympic weight than sitting at home. Or is it, okay, I made it to Final X. Zahid is the guy I got to beat. I got to fend off Starachi, who's coming. Not sure who else is really in the mix. There's so much separation between he and Kekheisen.
Marsteller?
Maybe Chance. Yeah, that for sure. He's really good. But it feels, to me, it feels like it's Zahid, Dake, Starachi, and then a little gap, and then it's Marsteller, then Kekheisen, and then who knows who else will emerge there at 86.
Some man's not retired.
Who's that?
Jordan
Ernest?
Now, does the thought of going back down to 74 for 2028 enter your head at all? Do you go back down to 79, recalculate, and go, dang, I can beat David Carr? But Zahid, ugh.
Does the thought for Jordan Burroughs going back down to 74, does that enter his mind, knowing, I mean, his match with Messenbrink was not close.
No.
At the Olympic trials. And he just saw David Carr. I mean, he knows where he stands there. Is that in Burroughs' mind?
I'm tired of seeing these legends not eat. I think, listen, there's nothing. Kyle Dake at 74 at 38 years of age, that is just not going to go well. Even if he makes the team somehow, which I think would be a long shot. He's just not the same guy down at that weight class. And I think as great as Jordan is at 74 also, like the amount of time, I think that's really, I don't want to say far-fetched, but just unrealistic.
You were next to Jordan all weekend. How big did he look?
He's a little bigger than me.
Yeah.
Was beefed
Taller.
Not taller, just thicker. No, he looks like healthy.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like see some of these guys when they're done, they pack them away. Mm-hmm. No, he looks strong, and he talked about that. I don't know, 180 something maybe. Okay. But at the end of it, I asked him, does watching this, what does that change in your mind? If anything, he's like, I already texted Lauren, I'm coming back. We'll see. We'll see, right? What that means for Jordan. But that was such a pleasure to call those matches with him. In terms of, if you're asking, did I get a read on would he come back? What weight? What's the scenario? I don't have that for you here today, but hopefully one day. For Kyle, and just back to Kyle, whatever it is, I hope he stays in it. It feels like he's in a really good headspace right now, and he still loves wrestling. And for that reason, I don't see him going anywhere, and I don't see him changing course.
Let's shift to 74. David Carr takes it in 2 straight matches. Jordan told us, Uncle Chael told us, this wasn't going to be the same as the U.S. Open, and they were right.
The errors were so correctable and so obvious that the untrained eye, it's like, okay, you can't go for a chest wrap every time and turning 2s into 4s. Every single time that Mitchell went to the left-handed collar, he was just kind of like overreaching, thumb blocking, or over collaring, and Mitchell was just getting to his legs super easy. He cleaned up so much of that, and that basically got them both square, like got that things back to neutral. And then I honestly thought they both wrestled super well. If you just sitting there, Matt's side, the number of just incredible attacks that they both had, and really guys weren't even getting to locks and kicking out of. I was just unbelievably impressed. And David just had great head hands discipline. He was able to get Mitchell had a hard time getting to his legs. He was not getting in very much.
And that changed up, I think, kind of Mitchell's pace. David made Mitchell uncomfortable by staying disciplined, which if you actually watch match 1, like Mitchell's he was forward pressure, but he wasn't shooting as much as he normally does. And I think that allowed David to stay composed. You're not getting into a bunch of exchanges, burn a lot of energy. And it actually kind of played into David's favor that Mitchell got up early because he took his foot off the gas a little bit.
Jordan thought that Mitchell was feeling it physically at the end there in match 1. He's like, I don't know if it was the cut or what was going on, but this is a different sort of, like, he noticed it right away. Like, hey, he's a little distant here. He's not really pushing the normal method. I think he's maybe not feeling great right now. He's feeling a little more fatigued than we've seen. So that was his takeaway. I felt like there was everyone talks about the tank. I thought Carr showed an advantage physically in a couple of exchanges where he was able to really move him and snap and get in deep on shots. And I think that was something he wasn't really able to do in the U.S. Open match. And really, we didn't really even necessarily see it in their NCAA meeting, which now feels like just ancient history. But there was a couple moments where he just seemed to have a little physical strength advantage. And the last, probably won't be the last thing, but another thing to add, and I talked so much about this match with Ben, the Keegan David Carr matchup. It's like, those guys went back and forth for years. And okay, I just want to know what Ben thinks about this. So we talk, and he'd be like, well, what we changed here and what we're going to change here is David Carr is not going to reattack you. He does not reattack. So we feel like we can shoot with impunity in this match, and that's going to be a difference. And that actually was what helped him beat him at the NCAA tournament when they ultimately won. And so ever since he told me that, I've watched Carr knowing that. And to see him add a reattack here, and that was how he was able to get one of his key scores, it's like, all right, David Carr is evolving his style, and he's reattacking now. He's reattacking against Mitchell Messenbrink. And I just thought he put I truly was impressed with David, but I felt like both guys really felt like we got both of their best. Just Carr, there's something too, when you win that big, you have to think about or just almost invent what you think your opponent is going to do to change, right? And so for Mitchell, he's in some ways at a disadvantage, whereas Carr knew exactly what he needed to change to react, to make it look differently. And I think that was an advantage for David that he had, like all this information, whereas Mitchell, I don't think he knew what to necessarily expect from David.
Yeah, it's a little bit of mind games, right? Like you did what worked, and so you're like, well, do I go back to that? Or does he expect me to go back to that? And then do I need to evolve and try to do something different? But I feel like they both wrestled really well. The biggest thing, and I think credit to Carr, is I felt like Messenbrink never got in like a pure rhythm. Like it never felt like he was able to get anything going. And was he cut? Did he have a cut? And so the match stoppages, I felt like maybe that kind of hindered Messenbrink a little bit to where he wasn't able to just use his pace to generate any kind of.
That's what I was talking about. He never got comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. Right. That's absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up because I remember when that happened, and Jordan was talking about it as like this really favors David. Mm-hmm. He just gets like it happened with like 30 seconds to go. You get a reset. He's bleeding everywhere. Mitchell's getting cleaned up. Carr's getting to kind of relax and just think and gather his thoughts. And what it reminded me, and I didn't say it on the call because I didn't want to bring this up. You know what I'm about to say.
Exactly what you're about to say.
I was thinking, I was like, this is so similar to freaking Godoy Burroughs. And if he wasn't sitting right next, I was like, he wouldn't care. But like, I'm not bringing that up. But I was thinking, I was like, Jordan just never was able to get in his rhythm because that dude's freaking head kept bleeding and slowed everything down. And then what made it worse at Rio was like the refs kept stopping things it was just a disaster in terms of like a rhythm. And I felt like that is exactly what happened with Mitchell.
And I have always felt, I'm trying to think of how to word this, because I don't want to say David Carr is a better wrestler. But if you put them in 20 wrestling positions, but just 30-second goes on 20 different days where they're on full health, David is going to win the majority of those. But that's not how a wrestling match goes. You wrestle 6 continuous minutes or 3 continuous 2-minute periods. And so that's why I think David Carr at his best is better than Mitchell.
Yeah,
At his best.
I think we saw them both at their best, you know, and not that Mitchell can't improve or wrestle better, but I thought they both looked really well prepared and ready. It was a really exciting series.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it would have went 3 just for the drama, but it was great.
Going to be a fun. I don't think either of those guys are going
Heck no.
anywhere before 2028, and hopefully after all the way through. So that's going to be a fun rivalry.
Just wait. I mean,
moving forward,
dude, I don't want to bring it back to it, but I will. What we're about to see over this next year from PJ Duke, I think, is going to just blow our minds. I think he is going to take a giant leap forward. And I bring him up because I feel like PJ is going to be in this conversation this time next year at 74. Maybe he medals and stays, but I'm just predicting. No inside scoops here necessarily, but I think he's going to go up eventually, and I think it'll be next year.
Stillwater's going to throw their hat in the ring with D. Lockett too.
Certainly will. It's man, we are really entering it's fun because, you know, we had this golden era, Jordan, Dake, David, Jaden, Kyle Snyder, right? All these guys, Gilman. And that was really cool. And now seeing this next generation come through, where now you think about our team, and maybe we can just go to the team topic because I know that's one of the ones we have down there. But no one on the team graduated later than 2019 from college. Kyle Snyder, Zahid in 2020. Everyone else, you know, Spencer 2023, Real Woods 24. PJ Duke is in high school right now. Carr 24, Levi still in college, Zahid 2020, 92, Trent Hidley 24, Snyder 19, and then Wyatt 2025. Like, this is a young, exciting crop that's going to be, I'm not saying they're going to run the next quad because the dudes behind are just unreal. These kids are crazy. But it's just going to be a really fun generation. And with the backdrop, you mentioned Stillwater, Oklahoma State, it's re-emergence, joining Penn State and Iowa and Cornell as the premier programs and others. So it's a really, really fun time in wrestling.
Could not be more fun time.
Yeah.
Let's run down. Well, let's go kind of rapid fire thoughts on the other matches we didn't get to, and we can talk about how I think the rep will do at Worlds there. Spencer, what did you see from him? And is he still the favorite to win Worlds?
In my mind, he is the favorite. I thought Spencer wrestled. He went out there. He got big leads early, and he looked great at the end. He didn't have to do anything, so he didn't. And he didn't do much. I felt like it's interesting. You watch Luke at the end, you're like, man, he couldn't get to a point where he could even try things, right? I think Spencer was just so good positionally. It's not like you see Luke wrestling at the end there. It's like, well, he didn't shoot. He didn't do this. But you have to get to a certain position. You have to get to a certain place in wrestling to where you can attack. And I think Luke couldn't get there. I think it was a good experience for Luke. He got smoked in 2023. Now you have 2 matches. You felt him. But there is still, I think the parterre of Spencer is so special. And I think that was in the back of Luke's mind at all times. Like, I can't let him get on top. And they're still, I think people would say, wow, he went from 10-0 to, 7-2 or whatever it was. But I think the gap is about as big as it was a year and a half ago, despite the change in score. Luke's still got a long way to go.
Yep. The performance I saw from Spencer, he's my pick to win Worlds in September. Now, Spencer was really hard on himself post-series about not scoring, which he always is.
I knew that was coming when he sat down next to me. I was like, all right, here we go. Spencer's gonna never satisfied.
No. And Call me wrestling mindset. I think there is a line where you don't want to be too hard on yourself, but not satisfied with the performance. And I think sometimes Spencer kind of flirts with that line because, like you've said on this show, like, you had a great performance. You went out there and did what you needed to do. But you always want to hear, as a fan, I'm like, I want to hear my rep talking about I'm not satisfied with the performance. I always want to be out there looking to score points. And he even says, he's like, I know I can score more points. I just don't know why I wasn't out there pulling the trigger like I know I can. So as someone who knows Spencer, I want to be like, lighten up, guy. You did it. Come on.
Yeah.
You made your first world team.
Yeah.
That's not in his vocabulary.
I wonder, like, in the back of his mind, if he's thinking about Higuchi and Ono where he needed to score and he couldn't. Like when his back was against the wall, and so he's thinking, maybe that's what he's thinking about when he's wrestling Luke Lilledal, and like, okay, if I can't put him away, like I want to put him away. I just want to score. I want to score to where, if that's the standard that he's measuring himself to. But then I think about who's going to be at Worlds this year, and I think Spencer's a very strong gold medal favorite.
Yeah.
When you consider Amon just lost to RBY, and Amon's style, like, Spencer's going to get on top of that guy. He's going to get to his legs a lot. Iran's guy, it's the same way. Like, I don't think anybody can challenge Spencer this year at Worlds. Maybe outside, like, RBY might be the biggest test for Spencer, and we already saw that match. I think it was 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think where Spencer's at, I just think he's a level above.
Yeah, you can't win Worlds at Final X.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be the world champion that day. You will be,
right,
in September. So I thought you did well.
Mm-hmm.
65 kilograms. I feel terrible for Joey McKenna. He's been right there for so many years, but this was Real's day, and I'm very excited to see what Real can do at the World Championships.
Yeah, I mean, he did great job. Joey, he had good game plans. Real just has that X factor, explosion power, really special power. Almost got that chest wrap early in the match. Then I don't know if that planted a seed, but like Joey fighting that off. If that happens like in the second period, do you have that energy to fight it off? Because Real really went for that, but then he gets the head pinch at the end, and it was an unbelievable move by Real Woods to win it there. And then he gets the big four, and it seemed like in match 2, he gets the big four off the double leg, spikes him down, and
spiked himself down too. By the way, his face went right into the mat hard.
He went for it, and I said, I think on the call, like, 4 points is not going to win this match, because immediately afterwards, Joey was starting to get it going. Joey was getting to the single leg. He was getting scores, and it just was seeming like Real is he was just giving too much too early for how much time was left. But then he just did a great job, and this is where, like, this is like his 17th freestyle match. Like, what are we talking about? He had some unreal mat savvy there on the zone and staying center, and just the confidence he has is what you have to have if you only have 17 matches.
Mm-hmm.
But his speed, power, I think he's going to be a big challenge on the international stage.
You said not that many controversial calls here at Final X. One of them, the singlet pull at the end, or the lack thereof, where it was shades of Zahid Brooks.
Yeah, I thought,
because the finger definitely caught.
It did. I thought they got that right. I do not think you give a point there. I don't think he wasn't defending wrestling. It was so brief, a glancing thing. Whereas with the Zahid, you could see how it helped him, right? Get that arm in front of the shot, and it didn't help or stop anything. It's not good. I mean, the singlets are sort of a dated uniform as is. That happens, right? Those things happen.
Chance Jordan as well.
It was crazy calling that match and talking about it. And Jordan brought up, he's like, I had an advantageous call here. I got the benefit of one of these. And what they're looking at is, are you being offensive or defensive in this moment, or is it neutral or inadvertent? And the replay official used terminology from the rule book. He started with in the International Wrestling Rule Book states. I was like, this is going Real's way. I was like, because it's but basically, I think they got it right.
I like how it was called, but it was eerily similar
Oh yeah,
to calls we've seen go the other way in the past, which I think that's why it's getting debated more.
for sure.
All right, because like you can pull those rankings back in and
65s?
yeah, you can talk about how you think Real stacks up against the field.
Yeah, I think the top 3 that's like a tier of its own, where you got Kayuka, Mamadov, and Amuzad, where I'd be surprised if Real breaks into that top tier. But he was leading Amuzad at the break when they wrestled earlier this year, which that's a pretty good feat in and of itself.
The 4, oh my gosh.
The multiple 4s in that match from the over-under.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched, do yourself a favor. It's textbook Amuzad, and just where your jaw drops and go, how does this man do this?
Right.
He just gets to an over-under. We've talked about Real's power and strength being unreal here.
Unreal.
And Amuzad just picks him up and throws him to his back.
Yeah.
Hard.
Hard.
It's just like, oh man, be good, Real.
But the funny thing though too, like you look at it with hindsight right now, where we know Real's inexperience in freestyle, where that may have been his 5th match on the senior level, or third match ever on the senior level, where you're facing Amuzad and you're beating him at the break. So anyways, it's going to be a tough path. 65 is always loaded, but like Dudayev, he's beatable. And then you got number 6, Vito teched him at Worlds, Zumish Bekulu, and Sebastian Rivera at number 10. There's a lot of Russians in here where they're all going to be.
Rivera's still ranked 10th?
Yeah.
Back to back?
Yeah.
Bronze?
Well, look, there's 2 Kyrgyzstans, a bunch of Russia in there.
Yeah, I mean, I could go in and
Kozak. It obviously won't matter for this year, but did you hear there's talk of Ibragimov transferring?
actually, yeah. Is he at Uzbekistan? Is that where he is, or is it Mamadov, Uzbekistan?
There's either I saw there was both. Where
Yeah. That'd be nuts.
we're gonna find out Russian nationals at the end of the month, but I saw that there were rumors
Yeah, I don't like that for
where they might transfer.
either one of them. They're both really good. Yeah, I know Mamadov. It was rumored that he was going to go Uzbekistan because they didn't let him wrestle at the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the T there. But yeah, I don't know. Like Real, I hope he goes to the ranking series tournament next month.
Yeah.
I think the more he can wrestle freestyle, the better. We've seen him get. But he's one guy where it's like, man, I'm really curious to see how he's going to do against the best in the world at 65.
I don't feel like we've ever seen a guy make a team with this level of inexperience. Think about it. I mean, he's obviously wrestled his whole life, and the wrestling trope kind of drives me nuts because it is different. But man, he kind of embodies it right now.
And a lot of his skills, like a lot of what he's shown is like freestyle specific skills that is just like he's really good at head pinches, chest wraps,
Gut wrench.
Gut wrench. It's like what? That's not usually what you see.
Yeah.
You usually see it's takedowns, and then parterre develops years down the road.
I think it is his strength and his power translates very well.
Yeah.
To kind of like Spencer. What was Spencer's MO at Iowa? Get on top and then run in that bar, right?
Yeah.
That's not a turn, but his strength and power translate extremely well to his gut wrench. It's the same with Real, except Real had his tilt series that he would get to on top. But
it seemed like he learned with Spencer,
Mm-hmm.
That was.
So I think there are parallels kind of between how their styles translate so well. We got PJ coming on here, so
cruise a little.
We got to cruise 79 kilos. Levi Haynes, pretty easy over Evan Wick.
Yeah, they're not gonna like wrestling him. He gives up his legs a little too much, but his physicality, hand fight, he can do really well. I don't know if he's ready to win yet, but I think he can be in medal contention.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, even when guys do get to his legs, like you can see how powerful he is, his hips, and how he's able to defend.
Yes.
92, Trent Hindley does it, beats Josh Barr in 2 matches.
The Hoagie boy does it, and what I think stands out the most here is when you think about Josh Barr, you think about someone that just can relentlessly attack and get to legs. Is he going to score every time? Maybe not, but he's going to get in. He gets to legs, and Trent for 2 matches basically shut him down completely and totally. And we know that it's not a freestyle thing because we just watched Barr do the thing at World Team Trials. Like, this guy is super good. He's a U20 world silver medalist. It's just Trent's defense. Trent is a powerhouse, and is he ready to win? I don't know, but he can. That defense, that power is a problem for everyone.
Yeah, he can medal for sure. I mean, he's been there for 5 years, 6 years. He beat Miles Amin 5 years ago, right? So he's been like right there, but just behind, David Taylor, behind some of the best guys in the world in America. So yeah, I'm really, really happy for Hindley.
I think too much was made of Barr not shaking hands after the match too. Should he have shaken hands? Probably, but it was a bunch of nothing.
He gave the backhanded shake
right away.
Right away, they shook hands, and then he kind of ran off.
It is kind of silly how you have to stand there while the referee raises, turns, and raises again.
I mean, he should have done it.
Yeah, for sure.
He should have stayed. There's a way that matches end in freestyle, right? Not the biggest deal in the world. He regrets it. He already said he regretted it, which I think is he could have just never addressed this ever, and we would move on. Not a big deal, but I think it's really cool that Josh said, "Hey, yep, hindsight, I should have stayed up there. I'll try to do it next time," but not a big deal. And it's just it's a different, Josh has wrestled on some big stages, right? But this is a different kind of thing, and he's a good kid, very obviously, and you can't help but give grace there.
97 kilos. Kyle Snyder's on his whatever 15th team.
11th.
Yeah.
So not quite in the teens yet.
Yeah.
Still 11, but he looked like Kyle Snyder. I don't know how much you want to say. He's going to be a medal contender.
Contender for sure. And I think we have our guest is going to be ready for us very soon. PJ Duke joining us. There he is. PJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear PJ, Amanda. So we'll work to get
Hello?
PJ on. But I can't hear him yet. Amanda. Okay. All right. PJ, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. The
right,
man
cool.
of the hour, PJ Duke. First off, thanks so much for joining us. It is very obvious you are still in high school. Your last day of school, before we get into the wrestling, how's it feel? You're almost done with high school.
Yeah, so today's my last day and just finishing up 2 more periods. So it's pretty – I'm excited to move on, but I'm also a little upset to leave these people behind. But I'm not really leaving behind, but just moving to a bigger part of my life, and I'm really excited about that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, PJ, you stole the show at Final X, an unbelievable performance. I have a lot of questions about it. The first one I want to ask you, what did you tell yourself after match 1 that gave you the belief you could do what you did in matches 2 and 3?
Yeah, so after that first match, obviously I'm sure a lot of people kind of left me out after getting beat up a little bit, but in my head I kind of knew I could beat him the whole time, even that first match didn't go my way. Once I got my hands on him, I kind of felt that I was there and at that level. I just need to fix a few things. I was just wrestling a little too hard through some positions, and I need to slow down. I think could have been nerves, could have been just I was anxious to wrestle, but kind of just stayed focused and never counted myself out, really. Like I said, I always believe in myself no matter what the score is or if I'm down. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just being me, and I always never count myself out.
And we'll talk about the pin later, but focus in on match 2. He had Yianni is a very adept finisher of leg attacks. He showed that in match 1 and in match 2, able to lift you up. What were you able to do to get that chest wrap for 4? Because that's a very similar position where he finished on you earlier. And what was the adjustment you were able to make there?
So I was just being a lot more patient. I think the first match I was kind of rushing. Every exchange I wanted to score instead of kind of just being more smart and choosing where I can score and where I can't. And obviously, I worked with like Nick Lee and Zane, and they wrestled him, familiar with him, and they're giving me a few tips on kind of he has that weird feel when he's kind of extended out. So I got to feel that a couple times, and once I had his head trapped and I had that Loctite, it was kind of something we were working. Is if he gets really extended, he kind of like lets that body lock get pretty tight. So once I had that, I kind of knew, and once he was starting lifting, I was gonna bring him for four. But yeah, I mean, I was just comfortable in those positions. I always know I have good hips and defending shots in that baseline. So yeah, just that first match, like I said, I think I was just over wrestling a little bit too much, being impatient, and that little change made a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're up there on the stage. You're wrestling Yianni. When are you feeling like, okay, this is not just going my way, but I can feel that Yanni's a little bit different? When was that moment for you where you felt like, all right, I can take this match?
Yeah, so in that second match, obviously it was 9-2 after the first period, and I kind of started to feel him fade a little bit, like after that first period. The more exchanges that were happening, the kind of more it was going my way. And I feel like I'm a wrestler who kind of thrives in the later end of the match for sure. I feel like it's been like my whole career like that. So the longer it goes is usually in my benefit. And after kind of that like crotch lift I got on him, from there once I scored on that and I knew he was in great position there and I scored there, so I kind of knew like, hey, I'm gonna turn this around and get it done.
Yeah, and then you get the one of the highlight reels. There are a few big highlight reels, but you get the four. Maybe they gave you a five. I'm not even sure on that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
On that go behind right into the gut.
Yeah.
Was that the moment you're like, okay, we're gonna have a third match?
Yeah, I think also once I kind of saw him and Coach Gray kind of like conversating after, I don't remember exactly what exchange it was, but they were on the mat like debating whether they should throw the brick. I kind of knew from then it was wraps after that.
Yeah, it was that chest strap you got for four. Yanni
Yeah.
wanted that brick, and it didn't come, and maybe he needed that. And then
Yeah.
match three, very different match, and
Yeah.
did it felt like Yanni, who was kind of go, kind of all the points for or against Yanni in those first two matches were kind of off his attacks, right? He would attack. You had some
Yeah.
amazing counters. Did you anticipate Yanni slowing things down the way he did in that third and final match?
Yeah, 100%. After seeing him kind of get a little tired that second match, I knew he was going to try and slow things down. He wasn't really going to shoot. And actually, literally right after the second match, I was talking with Coach Zane, and he was like, "Yeah, he's definitely going to stop shooting as much. So just be ready for that. You're going to have to beat him in the hand fight. He's going to be more patient." So I knew that first period when I was down 0-2, I knew I would have been all right just because I knew things would have picked up in the end. But just kind of wearing him out in that first and being patient, not making any dumb mistakes, and um, it worked out. So started to get to my offense a little bit more that match too.
Yeah. So let's talk about the final exchange. Why don't you just talk me through what you were seeing, what you were feeling on that final single leg to the pin?
Yeah. Okay. So I got into that single leg once before, and I got to that body lock where I'm really good at, and he had a really good feel from there. So it was kind of hard to finish, and he felt strong there. Normally, I'm able to kind of pick guys up and finish, but for him, he has that different feel. Even when I had his leg, those splits are. It's something that's hard to mimic when you're training. So it's definitely a different feel once you get there. But on that second shot, once he was in a split again, and he kind of started going whizzer a little bit. So I kind of felt him trying to trap my arm, and I knew I needed to get his foot off the mat because if I'm leaving his foot down, it's going to be impossible to score on him. So keeping that foot in the air and clearing this arm. So I kind of lifted this leg up and tried to clear my shoulder like limp arm. And I got my arm out and I brought his foot up at the same time, which kind of made him fall backwards. And I kind of just caught him on his back and got the fall.
And then everyone saw the moment you get the pin. The look on your face, PJ, was classic. Just like,
Yeah.
did I really just do that? What was that emotion like?
Yeah, it was obviously surreal. I mean, honestly, I still kind of can't believe that I'm on a senior world team, and I'm just so grateful to be here, and um, just the amount of work I put in is finally paying off. So I'm just really excited about that, and just to be surrounded by the other guys on the team that are just such legends. It's awesome. It's crazy that I'm part of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about your training leading up to this. You're Coach KD, and you have been working together a long time. How much has he and the Penn State crew that's been now able to help you a little bit helped get you to this point?
Yeah, so I mean, Katie's the man. I couldn't ask for him to do anything more for me. It's the relationship we have is just unbreakable, and he's always been there. Even when I was, a lot younger in middle school, we used to take trips down to North Carolina. We'd stay for like 2 weeks at a time, just training every day, and he would destroy me. I'd be on the airdyne like crying, and he'd be pushing me hard. So, I think it's just the bond that we have is bigger than wrestling, and if wrestling would end today, we'd still be friends. And sorry, the bell's ringing, but
That's
we'd
good.
still be friends. And like I said, it's just something stronger than wrestling, and it's just incredible how far we've come together. And like I said, although I'm going to Penn State, the bond is going to be broken. I'm still going to be super close with him, and I'm just super excited for the next step. And he's going to be a part of it for sure. So
That's amazing. Now, a lot of what we've been talking about with this generation, that's okay. For you, like you and Marcus and Jackson, that's generation. It seems like everyone knows how good you are, but what is most interesting to me is just the confidence you guys have. What is it about you and your contemporaries that you guys just don't seem to? It's not that you don't respect, but there's no reverence that you guys are showing the legends like Yianni, and you see Marcus beats Seth Gross, and Jax beats all these guys too. What is it about your group that seems to think, yeah, we can beat these guys? Doesn't matter that we're in high school.
yeah, I think a lot of it is I've been training with older guys for a long, long time, so I think that's kind of also helped. Like being in the room training with the guys has given me the confidence where if I'm beating these guys in the room, I know I can beat them in matches. And another thing is that I've always been competing against guys that are older than me. Like I'm sure you remember in 8th grade, I was in the finals Super 32, and
Mm-hmm.
I think just kind of having that edge of just competing against older guys is kind of translate a little bit. Obviously, it's different levels from Super 32 to Final X, but it really does help. And I think a huge part is my dad has also put me in those situations where I'm like expected to lose, and I've had to overcome and figure things out.
Yeah. Now, looking towards the future, I don't know if you've even had much time to think about it, but you are on 2 world teams, 3 if you want at U23s. Have you even started to think about, like, do I want to do 3 world championships? Do I want to just focus on seniors, or has that been a conversation you've had at all?
I mean, I've thought it in my head. I have declared the U23 spot, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing. I gotta figure it out. Obviously, I gotta figure out the school and talk to the Penn State coaches and
Yeah.
my family and figure out what's best for me. But obviously, 3 world championships is a lot for one summer, especially with the college season coming up. I still don't know what I'm doing for that either. So I think it's just gonna have to be a long talk with the coaches and my family and figure out what's best for me.
Yeah, and for you at the senior level, 70 kilograms. I, it looks like you're pretty big for the weight. Do you feel like this is probably one of the only years you're going to be able to make 70? Do you see yourself moving? Obviously, the Olympic weight for you will be 74. When do you see yourself making that move?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go off kind of how I feel like at the beginning of the year. Like obviously this year I'll be 70 kilos. Depending on what I weigh next year, if how I'm feeling is I'm just gonna go off that. I'm not gonna decide too early or late. So yeah, I mean obviously working up towards 74 kilos for the Olympics in 2028. But I'm gonna try and make it a smooth transition to where obviously 70 kilos will probably eventually get a little hard to make. So gonna have to jump up eventually.
Yeah. For the Yanni matchup was so interesting because New York has a lot of great wrestlers, but I mean the fact that
Yeah.
you two are 2 of the greatest to ever come out of the Empire State. What when did you start to think of Yanni not as someone you looked up to, but someone, hey, I might have to beat this guy to get what I want? When did that sort of shift in your own mind?
Yeah, so honestly, it was kind of this year. Obviously, when I committed to Penn State and I was getting recruited by Cornell and stuff, so that kind of separated us a little bit. And like that moment, I kind of realized like I might eventually have to compete against him. But he was also at 65 kilos, and I kind of knew I wasn't really ever going to be at 65 kilos. But um, like this year, when I saw he was going 70, it like really hit me. I was like, wow, I'm gonna have to compete against him. And he's such a just think he's an incredible person. So it was an honor to wrestle against him and compete. But like I said, I knew I can compete with anybody, and I just had to prove it.
You turned a lot of heads last year at the World Team Trials. You didn't make the team, but it was very obvious you can compete at the senior level. When did you feel like, all right, it's actually very realistic for me to make this team in 2025?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny. After last year, Katie was telling me after the tournament, he was like, it's crazy to think about. He was like almost predicting. He was like, I promise you're gonna make a senior world team next year. And in my head, I was thinking, I was like, am I really gonna though? Like, I'm a senior. I don't know about that. That's pretty crazy. And it happened. So obviously, just the support system and the belief that they have in me is incredible. So he kind of spoke those words into me and made me believe it. And obviously, I always have confidence in myself. But I think Katie just kind of that extra little push really made a difference for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And now at 70 kilograms on the world stage, do you know much about your competition there? It's typically a pretty deep weight. A lot of talented guys. It is the world
Yeah.
championships. How do you think your style could potentially challenge the foreigners?
I think I have a relatively good style. I mean, I know the foreigner guys don't like to work too hard at matches, and I'm all for it. So, uh, like I said, just similar to the Yanni match, the farther it goes, I think the more benefits me, and definitely gonna make some adjustments since last year U20 Worlds. That was my first international tournament, and I'm glad I got to get that feel before this year. So, um, I think I have a relatively good style. I mean, a lot of those guys are really squirmy and stuff. So, try to just hold good position. I mean, not gonna think overthink it. I'm just gonna wrestle how I wrestle though.
You have a very unique style. How would you, if you had to describe someone that had never seen your wrestle style, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as kind of like I would say it's all over the place, but at the same time, it's kind of like it can get pretty crazy, but it's pretty basic. It's like basic and crazy at the same time. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're feeling it, but like I'm best at kind of staying in good position, but I can if things get out of hand and go upper body or we get in a scramble, I'm gonna be all right. Like a lot of guys I know are super uncomfortable. They're either really good at scrambling or they're really good at head hands. And I think I have a good blend of both, and I can kind of wrestle from every position and be comfortable.
Yeah, well, that was definitely apparent. You guys have any questions for PJ before we let him get back to school? I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be tardy.
I got one as far as his training goes. I know with Coach KD, but who specifically were some of your main training partners over the last few months in your preparation for World Team Trials and Final X?
Yeah, so my number one was Jaden James, and obviously he's an animal. I mean, just went out to the U20 stage and made the finals at 74 kilos. So he's an incredible partner, and which is actually pretty crazy because nobody wrestles like Yanni, but nobody wrestles like Jaden either, and they're pretty similar in how they wrestle. So he was obviously a really good training partner to have, and he's really good at kind of sitting in that corner. So I got a good feel from there, from him. And I've been training with Luke Stanich a little bit too at Lehigh. I've been training going up to the RTC, but obviously going out to Penn State as well and training with Nick Lee, Zane, and all those guys. So I'm in a great spot right now, and obviously when I move into Penn State, it's going to be even better. So.
PJ, there's a section of fans out there who, if they really like you, it's called the Duke Mafia. This started back in from U20 Worlds, your run last year. Are you okay with fans being called the Duke Mafia? Do you like it?
Absolutely, I think it's awesome. Yeah, so we got the new Duke Mafia shirts came out, so they look awesome too. But I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get some of those.
Mhm.
We got to get some
Yeah,
for
they
here.
came out pretty sweet.
I'm a member.
Yeah,
I'm a member now.
we're all members of the
Mafia.
Duke Mafia for sure. It's actually I don't even know if you know the origin of this, PJ, but there's
I know you guys said it first. I remember you guys saying it like a while ago on Instagram.
so
caption or
there's this Russian guy. He's Chechen, and he likes all the Chechen guys like
Baitakayev,
Baitakayev. So he likes Baitakayev, and then you wrestled Baitakayev really tough at U20s, and he's like, since like September of 2024, he's like, here it is, Duke Mafia is here to take over. Go up, scroll up to show what that was like in response to a James Green tweet in September of 2024, and this guy says Duke Mafia is here to take over. So that was the start, and then we started saying it all the time because because this guy, he saw it maybe before only you and KD maybe saw it before Che did. So this guy is the #1 Duke Mafia. He's the founding member, and he's a Russian. So I don't know how I feel about that, but
He's the founding father, yeah.
that's right. Exactly. When do you head to Penn State, PJ?
I move in June 28th. It's pretty crazy because I don't know why, but New York graduates so late. I don't have my like official graduation until June 27th, so I literally move out like the day after my graduation.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, East Coast is
Yeah.
crazy with that.
It's crazy. I know kids that are graduated like a month ago, and I'm still sitting in school. It's terrible, but
that is brutal. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
PJ, also curious if you've thought about wrestling in the ranking series tournament next month at all, if that's on your radar or if it doesn't fit into your schedule.
yeah, honestly, I haven't even thought about that at all. It hasn't crossed my mind, and I'd probably, obviously, I gotta talk with the coach and figure things out, but I'd probably rather do another world championship than go to a ranking series.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a world title yet, so that's on my goal list for sure.
Decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel bad when you're wrestling like a local New York kid, like during your regular high school?
That is
season?
messed up.
Like, and you're like, come on, like this isn't even fair.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I'm wrestling kids, I don't know why, but like some of them just have that look where I feel bad, but like others, I just don't really care. Like I remember one match, so it was like the kid and like he didn't even know like referee's vision, and I was just like, man, I actually feel really bad for this kid, so I just pinned him right away. But then there's other kids that like try to like smack me like to be in the match, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't feel bad for this kid at all.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's like it's mixed. It depends on the kid. It depends on the kid for sure.
Mhm.
But
yeah, it's kind of how they carry it, you know? It's like, all right, how are you going to play this, son? Like,
We can do this
Yeah,
the
like-
easy way or the hard way.
yeah, it's literally up to them. If they're gonna come out and try to actually wrestle me, then they're getting beat up. But if the kid is like visually like doesn't know how to wrestle, I'm just gonna take care of it.
all right,
and
I
be
know what
nice.
my strategy would be, PJ. right. If it ever came down to it, and if I ever coached anyone against him, I'd be like, all right, listen, just be nice. He'll be cool.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Well, PJ,
Yeah.
man, it is so special to have you on right after Saturday night. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind for you, just one day
Yeah.
removed. And thank you so much for making time of your day. Do you have anything else before we let you get back to class?
Yeah, well, I just appreciate you guys having me on here. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much, PJ.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch you wherever you're next on the mat. We're going to be glued. So exciting to see your career unfold, and we're still, just at the start of it. So it's an exciting time for
Yeah.
wrestling, and you're a big part of that. So thank you, PJ.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. There you have it. 70 kilogram senior world team rep, PJ Duke.
Duke Mafia.
Dude, love it.
Mafia, baby.
Thank you. Cool guy, PJ Duke. That was awesome.
Before we finish out the show here, I want to remind everyone that we are presented by Nike Wrestling. So you should go to athleteps.com, go get yourself some super sick gear like the Nike Inflict 4s.
Yes. 8 different colors you can get. The #1 selling shoe on the mat was for college wrestling was the Inflict 3s. Now they got the 4s. Better than ever. All kinds of colors. John's fancy. He likes these orange ones.
Mm-hmm. And look at all these sizes too.
All these sizes for all different
Yeah.
sizes of foot.
Any foot can wrestle.
That's
Yeah. Well, if you're above size 15,
I bet even then.
customs. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can get
customs.
customs.
We'll get some customs. We'll just
I don't have to worry about that.
yeah, no issue there. So yes, definitely want to thank Nike for all their support. Yeah, man, what a freaking show. Do you want to circle back to any
Wyatt. We didn't
We
talk
didn't
about
talk
Wyatt.
125.
Wyatt Hendrickson? I mean, the match of the tournament or of Final X was match 2. Hilger
Yes.
Hendrickson. That was insane. It was like a 3-point shootout, but in wrestling. They were just going back and forth.
Just you shoot. Okay, I chest wrapped you. You shoot. You get 4. You shoot. I take you through. Back and forth.
I mean, Hilger, he went out like a G. Like, I'm just going for it. I'm going to try to score the entire time. Whatever happens,
They
happens.
were both so tired afterwards.
Absolutely. It was really cool. I saw them at the Beat the Streets gathering afterwards, chumming it up. The heavyweight camaraderie. It's
Oh,
always
it's a brotherhood.
there. But it was cool.
Yeah. I will say, though, that match does make me nervous about Wyatt at the World
I mean,
Championship.
Zare and Hilger are very similar, very similar wrestlers. You know,
Trent Zare. See, you get me flustered every time I hear that name. The day that guy hits a knee intentionally, that'll be the first day. It doesn't happen. So they're different styles.
I'm
Listen.
not talking about Zara. I'm talking about
I'm
the tier below.
the tier below, the Mongolian, China, like those guys are. You worry about them foreign him off one of his shots. But here's the thing. I like Wyatt has a good style for if it's going to be your first run. He's going to make some mistakes. But a guy that will never stop trying to score is going to be hard to beat. A guy that is that big, that strong, he has special power, right? And that is just a tough wrestler to beat. And can these heavyweights really stand in front of him that long? Listen, Zare is a different thing. We'll talk about him when it's time to talk about him. But these other guys, they do not want to wrestle the way he wrestles. Geno would like to. Taha, okay, but those guys aren't in the picture this year. So now who wants to go and go blow for blow with Wyatt Hendrickson? Not many. They're going to try to counter him to death, and they may counter him once, twice, but he is hard to kill. And that's why I have a ton of confidence in what Wyatt could do at the World Championships.
You know, Munkter was in Stillwater back in February.
Oh, really?
I don't know how much they trained together because
Probably a lot.
Well, Wyatt was still in season at that time, so I don't know. When I was there, they did not work out together because Wyatt did college practice, and Munkter was at RTC practice.
You don't bring that dude in if you don't want Wyatt to go with him, though. Right? In my opinion, and just feeling that one time, that guy gave us a lot of problems, and yeah, I'm excited for Wyatt. I really feel like. I always feel like we get the best team, but I feel like it. I have a lot of confidence in this crew. And listen, it's not. We have one gold medal favorite. That's it. We have other guys that could. We have a lot of guys. There's no one that we're going to send. In 61, we still don't know who's going. But regardless of how that goes, there's no one we're sending where I'm like, we're not medaling here. Like it's not happening. And there are some years where you feel like it's probably not going to happen. Every single weight class, I feel like we've got a great shot. And I'm always USA all the way, but I try not to lie and say what I don't feel, right? And I really do feel like at every single weight. Now, we're not bringing home 10 medals. That's just not how it works. But they all got a shot, and that's all you want.
Great dual team.
Great dual team. Dangerous in duels. You do not want to see this team at the World Cup.
That's what I've kind of been saying, where there's been a lot of talk of, is USA Wrestling in trouble, And I've said, no. I've said it's going to be different, right? Especially these first couple years post David Taylor retiring. And I guess Jordan Burroughs isn't retiring, but him not being here and all those other guys that we had a staple for so long where we were like, medal, lock, feel good about gold.
Yes.
And that's not going to be the case moving forward, but no holes.
I feel like this year we could leave Worlds like a little sad. I don't feel like we're going to leave Worlds like completely disappointed and like, oh, what are we doing? What's USA Wrestling doing for the next 4 years? But it could be like, man,
we were right there,
a
maybe, couple guys could have hit the podium.
Or it could be like the future is so bright. We could win 7-8 medals.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be crazy surprising. And then we're like, this is 6 or 7 guys first time at Senior Worlds. It's only going up.
Well, and I feel like that's why we're going to leave Worlds probably fairly confident moving forward.
Regardless,
no matter what, right? Like even if some of these guys don't medal, I don't think they're going to go there and go 0-1 or 1-1 and get whooped by some guy who then gets whooped the next round. Like everybody's going to be fighting tooth and nail and contending for medal. And you're like, but it was their first or second time at the World Championships. They got this under their belt. If they go back next year, they're bringing it home.
Exactly. You feel like that for Real and PJ, their first time. Like this is going to be win or lose, such a great experience for them. And I really do feel like they can medal, but even if not, like the sky is really the limit for those two and others.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's gonna be a fun team. Any questions before we go?
Yeah, you want a few rapid fire?
Yeah.
I do want to click a couple news notes. Robbie Smith might be getting a world medal.
That's
Didn't see that.
that's happening.
Yeah.
Yep. 2015,
Bilal Makov.
Bilal Makov popped. Shocker.
Never saw it coming.
Yeah.
I know. So I think it has to go through like the court and appeals and technically whatever before he officially gets probably a bronze for his 2015 world run. And then I want to get y'all's opinion on this. Let's see. Gable Steveson is going to Dagestan to train with Sadulayev.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah. He did an interview.
Wow.
I saw it, and he said Sadulayev asked him to come over and help him train for the World Championships, and he is obliging him.
Well, I don't like that.
Right?
No, it's fine.
Undercover operation. Maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you think he's a double agent?
Double agent Gable.
Yeah.
He's not going to
Yeah.
try and make our team, but he'll help us out
Mm-hmm.
by going and getting intel on the Russians.
Calls Bill Zadek. All right, I got some notes for you. His gut wrench is really good, Bill. It's good. It's like, all right, thanks, man.
All right. You want
yeah.
some rapid fire questions?
Yes.
All right. Which Final X has been your favorite?
Ooh.
Favorite Final X? Go.
Well,
23 was freaking awesome. I felt like this one was great because I felt like there were no bad matches,
Mhm.
right? The worst thing we had was Kyle just kind of handling Zilmer. But other than that, I just felt like it was just a lot of action, not slow, wasn't slowed by. I thought the pacing of the show was fast. Like it was match after match after match. Like we weren't a lot of long delays, weren't a lot of long challenges. So that was awesome. 23 had it was pretty magical just with the Chance Burroughs upsets. You had a weird Yianni Nick Lee series. You had the Zayn upset. So that was a really great one.
I know a lot of people won't agree, but sometimes I do kind of prefer the two Final X's or more, so that it's not men's and women's at the same time, just so you can really actually watch both at the same time and comprehend what you're watching. Especially in arena, it's hard to really have locked attention on two mats. A little bit easier if you're just watching. I know everybody won't necessarily agree with that. And going back to back men's and women's on their own all in one day, it's too long
Oh, that was crazy.
of a
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, you
So
can't do that.
I do appreciate the
I like how they're doing it.
timing of this.
I think that this is how you got to do it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
All right. Next question. What's more likely, Dake at 79, Yianni at 65, or Brooks at 92?
Dake at 79, I would say. Yanni's not going to go down to 65. Even in an Olympic year, I don't see it, but maybe. Brooks at 92, no way. Brooks is
Really?
locked in on 97.
Okay.
When will we see him? I don't know. But
All right. Mason asks if this was a disappointing Final X for NLWC. How do you frame NLWC's performance?
no, I don't think so. I mean, are you disappointed Mitchell didn't beat Carr, who he beat? Yeah. But other than that, I don't know where else you look and say. I mean, Dake, Zahid's better than Kyle, right? He's not able to make up that gap. Josh Barr, what a great year that guy had. You can't be anything but excited. By the way, PJ Duke's coming there June 28th. Is going to be on your squad. Luke Lillidahl is 19 in Final X, and he's ranked like 5th in the world.
Marcus Blaze.
Marcus
that's what I was gonna say.
Blaze.
He won true third.
I don't think you should be elated with how Penn State did, and you're not going to win them all. The country's really good, the world's good, and David Carr is hard to beat. That's really the only one you can look at, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is one of those things where Penn State fans, they have so much success, right, in the college level, and then you just figure, you're just going to translate that to the senior level, and it's like, okay, there's
Well, some years it has.
in some years certainly it has, but yeah, I think they're still really, really good.
Wrestling's finicky too. Like it's just the smallest of things can totally shift how you're feeling. Remember last year in 2024, we had 65 was Penn State versus Penn State. 74 was Penn State versus Penn State. And 86 was Penn State versus Penn State. They had a guy at 57 in the trials finals. They had the rep at 97. So it's like, and then the next year it's a little things spread out and
Kirkfleet's getting healthy.
Kirkfleet's getting healthy.
So,
if Dake goes, I mean, they got a guy, and we didn't talk about Levi hardly at all.
Yeah.
He's on the team. He's in college.
Yeah.
So no, there's no disappointment. It's just hard to win at the NCAA level. It's hard to win at the senior level, and that's all this Final X showed. And with that,
I do want to say
JD has
we
something
got
to
one
say.
email question, and it was better finish to an event, PJ Duke over Yianni or Wyatt Hendrickson over Gable Stevenson. With all due respect to PJ,
it's a different.
Wyatt over Gable is never going to be topped.
Yeah,
It's not. Sorry.
probably not. And I think that one is that's just like one of the biggest moments the sport's ever had.
Correct.
It's crazy we have something that people are even putting in the same breath of it just a month and change later. But that was a special for Final X moments. That PJ pin I think is maybe the top. It's up there.
It's up there.
Jordan running down Imar in match 1 in 19 was really something. But then he lost match 2, won match 3. The whole Chance Burroughs match, honestly, the 4 on the edge.
Yeah.
That's maybe like a quintessential Final X.
And the fact that it was Jordan Burroughs,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And getting it back over Chance.
But
you
even
know.
in that, it was controversial.
Yes.
PJ's pin, like,
It's undeniable.
yeah, undeniable, and it's final. It's like, that's it, you know?
Yes.
Finally X.
It's Final X.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Another thank you to Nike Wrestling for holding it down, supporting us, supporting wrestling the way they do. Head to athleteps.com. Get all that Nike merch. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We are going to be back on Thursday. Normal schedule, normal crew. So much more Final X to talk about. So much more topics. We got to get into our quarter century team. Just an amazing, amazing week of wrestling. Thank you guys so much for listening. For Kozak, JD, and producer Amanda, I'm Christian Piles. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.